Good evening, and thanks for joining us. I'm Maria Parham, editorial page editor for the Arizona Daily Star. In tonight's AZ Illustrated Metro, we'll look at a number of education issues. We'll start with an interview about how education standards are changing next school year.
Many other elements that we need to help Arizona to help Arizona really grow and thrive in the 21st century are really embedded in the Common Core standards.
Then we'll see how one school district in Tucson has improved its graduation rate by hearing from two students.
Now I feel like my future's way brighter than if I would have just dropped out of school and gone on to get a job.
We looked at graduation numbers and we set up a real strategic design to say to schools, you're measured by the number of kids you graduate.
Finally, we'll find out how Pima and Maricopa counties are approaching school safety and how they're training their law enforcement agencies.
Maybe the President of the United States can cut loose with a little money that gives us the opportunity to put law enforcement people in the schools. Until that happens, we're going to be outside the schools with our volunteer posse.
But first, a look at today's top stories.
In a 7-2 ruling, the U.S. Supreme Court today struck down Prop 200 passed by Arizona voters in 2004. That law required voters in the state to provide proof of citizenship when registering to vote. But the majority of justices said it violated federal voting laws, which say a voter must only swear they are a citizen when registering. Arizona Attorney General Tom Horne says the legal fight isn't over yet.
Basically, what the Supreme Court is saying is that ultimately we should win. But before that happens, we have to go to what's called the EAC, the Elections Assistance Commission, to see if we can get relief from them. And if we don't get relief from them, then we can go back to court.
It should be noted that currently the EAC has no members. The court's ruling deals only with voters who use a federal form to register to vote. If an Arizona voter uses the state form, they still must provide proof of citizenship. The ruling does not address showing identification at the polls. A group calling itself Equal Marriage Arizona filed today with the State Secretary of State's office in hopes of getting a constitutional amendment on the ballot. The proposal would allow same-sex marriages in Arizona. The group's website, however, says that the proposal would also, quote, preserve the rights of religious institutions to practice their beliefs about marriage without government interference. Equal Marriage Arizona needs more than 200,000 signatures to qualify for the November 2014 ballot. And U.S. Senator John McCain sent a letter to the White House today questioning the Obama administration about employees using secret email accounts to skirt public records laws. McCain's complaint stems from an investigation by the Associated Press. And that's a look at tonight's headlines.
One of the issues topping Governor Jan Brewer's agenda this year was education reform. A key to that is Arizona's adoption of the new national standard for curriculum. It's called Common Core Standards. And as Michael Chihak reports, it's a new set of educational standards all states are working to incorporate. He spoke with the governor's education policy advisor about Common Core.
How important is the Common Core standards in the grander scheme of the governor's education reform movement?
They are a key pillar within the governor's education reform plan. In 2011, she announced the plan with 4 pillars: data use, great teachers, great leaders, supporting struggling schools, and standards and assessment. So that 4th pillar, not in order of priority, but that 4th pillar is quite important. Within the reform plan, Arizona Ready, there are 19 recommendations, and about half of them are related to implementing the Common Core. So it's quite a deep foundational element, and many other elements that we need to help Arizona to help Arizona really grow and thrive in the 21st century are really embedded in the Common Core standards.
Started it in 2011. And moving forward, what's the timeline here? When would we expect to see the Common Core standard fully implemented and ongoing?
Well, the reform plan itself was adopted in 2011. The Common Core standards were adopted by the State Board of Education in 2010. The early grades are supposed to be at full implementation this year, and next year, sort of the rest of the system is supposed to be at full implementation.
And when you say this year and next year, you mean school year, right?
Correct,
Okay.
yes. In the 2014-2015 school year, that's when the new assessment, based on the standards, will be implemented. One of the nice things about the assessment, the new assessment to measure the Common Core standards, is that we intend to have an earlier assessment, a formative assessment at the beginning of the year and a benchmark assessment in the middle of the year, so that by the time you get to the spring 2015 test, which is where we would normally have aims, the teachers and students will have had sort of two experiences with the test. So while theoretically the assessment is the spring 2015 assessment, students and teachers really need to be prepared by the fall of 2014 as we start to do the diagnostic rollout.
What are the barriers that are coming up that you're seeing to keep this from happening, besides the obvious human resistance to change?
Right. Well, what's interesting is that the human resistance to change isn't quite as resistant, I think, as some people might think. The teachers have embraced this actually quite deeply. We've been around the state several times and to get feedback, and the feedback that we've received is actually very positive about the change. The barriers that we've heard are professional development. Teachers understand that while they have full autonomy in the classroom on how to teach the standards, we're asking them to think a little bit differently about integrating materials from science and history into English language arts and have more informational texts. That idea that teachers know that they need to do something differently and they want the tools to do it differently is really exciting. And that's part of why the governor recommends $40 million for Common Core in her budget for professional development. It could be used for anything, but we heard this idea that we need money for stipends or for maybe weekend training or summer training, or money for substitutes if the training's going to happen during the week. The second element is finding the resources and being able to vet the resources. So lots of people are starting to post lesson plans or activities that they say are aligned to the Common Core. Textbook companies might have a textbook that's quite similar to one from the past, but say it's aligned to Common Core, and we're not quite sure what that means. So the idea of being very careful about the resources you choose and having access to maybe what we hope to see is some sort of repository of good ideas for teachers.
You mentioned the governor's request for $40 million to help get this implemented for training, et cetera. And money always seems to be at the core of the discussion around education and many other things, but specifically education in this state. What are you hearing from the legislature about that? Is she going to get that money?
It's too early to say. I don't think the legislature has, last I heard they hadn't sent their response back to the governor's budget. So I really don't know, but there have been several events at the legislature. Really early on, there was a joint House session between the House Education Committee and then the House Higher Ed and Workforce Committee, in which the business community testified on behalf of Common Core. It really seemed to resonate with the members, and we didn't hear a lot of opposition at the time. So I'm hopeful, and there's a lot of community support for it, so I'm hopeful.
Now we'll hear from the schools. In Arizona, 3.6% of all high school students drop out. In 2012, that was about 19,000 students, according to the State Department of Education. In Pima County, the percentage of high school dropouts is higher, at almost 5%. Data shows Hispanic and Latino students of low-income families drop out at a higher rate. The Sunnyside School District has a high poverty rate, and in the last 4 years, the number of graduates has almost doubled. Fernanda Chavarri visited the school district on Tucson's south side and spoke with some students who graduated this year.
Georgina Valencia and Benny Gutierrez are seniors at Sunnyside High School.
I'm the oldest of five girls to that matter. And my mom graduated high school, but I was her high school baby. So statistically speaking, I'm probably supposed to have had a kid by now. Probably I've already dropped out of high school. And not looking forward to graduation, but I'll be graduating May 23rd.
My mom's a single mother. She's been a single mother for about 9 years. I was diagnosed with nephrotic syndrome when I was 2. I've been in and out of the hospital my entire life. I live with my grandma at her house. We currently don't own a house. We've managed to get along pretty well. I have a job. I run track and field and cross country. I think it's all been part of pushing me to do my best, because I know that I've seen my mom through so much, work 24 hours and always being there for us and doing the best she could do for us. So I feel like my only way to pay her back is by doing what she wants me to do and succeed in high school and graduate and go to college. I'm going to be the first one to get a college degree in my family.
500 students graduated from high school in the Sunnyside School District in 2007. In 2012, that number was almost 900. Superintendent Manuel Isquierdo says for many, the change was unexpected.
When you look at Sunnyside in Tucson, Arizona, in many ways, when you take our demographics of 90% low income, 90% Hispanic, it mirrors so many urban districts across the nation in terms of the high percentage of low income and high percentage of minority. In a concentrated area, segregated schools, low funding, and not very successful in graduation rates or academics and a lot of other things. We have been told so long that poverty is an excuse and a barrier that we can't beat, and that we're not going to be able to graduate everybody. We're not going to have a sense of urgency. We're not going to have the expectation that children come here and can thrive.
National data shows the risk factors for dropping out begin to develop in the early years of high school, although many students don't actually drop out until their sophomore or junior years.
If you were a freshman in any school and you failed and didn't go to school with attendance problems, you were 8 times more likely to drop out, because you get retained freshman year, you don't move to sophomore year, you don't go with your friends, and then you become disassociated from the school. You give up and you don't try. So freshman failures were a huge challenge for us, a little bit into sophomore. That's why we created Project Graduation and the Digital Advantage, to really invest in our freshmen.
To prevent dropouts and increase graduation numbers, the Sunnyside School District gave laptops to students who could check off the 4 A's: attendance, academics, activity, and attitude. Project Graduation started 4 years ago, and that's when Gutierrez got his laptop, which was the first and only computer in his house.
Definitely when I first got it, my mom started her online schooling. I did too. I took an online class. My little brother started using it for homework, when they start in that stage of learning to use computers and stuff. So it definitely was a great advantage to have taken, that program.
He says the computer was a great incentive, but just one of the reasons for staying in school. Still, he says there were times when he thought about dropping out.
I feel like at some points it crossed my mind, only for the reason knowing that, I have 2 little brothers, and like I said, my mom and my grandma, they both work, and it's still hard for us. So it's kind of like, oh, well, what if I just worked? What if I put in that much more money that would make us, live a better life? And at one point it did, but then realizing, in the long run, what the long effect of that's going to be, that's the reason why I held back. And I'm thankful that I did, because now I feel like my future is way brighter than if I would have just dropped out of school and gone on to get a job.
Gutierrez has a part-time job after school and sometimes works late. Between homework, after-school sports, and working, he says it's not easy to stay motivated.
I know I want to just say, okay, I'm not going to go to school today, just stay home and rest. But my mom's there, like, you want a job, you want to go to you have to go to school, get up. And, I feel like that's a big part for some students that don't have their parents or who have the need to work all day and be out of the house. I think that's a big reason also as well why students drop out, because they don't have the encouragement. And sometimes even from their friends and from the people that they're with, it's a big, I mean, my friends they're all passing their classes and we're all planning on going to college and everything. So it also has a lot to do with the people you surround yourself with.
Despite the increase in graduation numbers, there are students in the Sunnyside School District who continue to drop out. Valencia says she has classmates at Sunnyside High School who are teenage parents working full-time, making it almost impossible for them to finish high school.
It's hard. Different students have different realities. From the ones I already mentioned, maybe abusive parents. I know teenagers who have already become alcoholics or have abused substances. It's a different reality, and I think it's the eagerness just to grow up already.
Technology has
Superintendent Isquierdo says the district has outreach programs in place that aim to bring back students who are on the fence about dropping out. For those who left high school early, a new online program called GradLink gives them a chance to finish through online classes.
We looked at it with data, strategic design, and questioned everybody that dropped out, said to our schools, why are they dropping out? We looked at graduation numbers, and we set up a real strategic design to say to schools, you're measured by the number of kids you graduate.
Isquierdo says it's good to hear a handful of success stories, but that's not enough. He wants to raise the expectations for minority students and let them know failure is not an option. Valencia says she attributes her success not only to her school and teachers, but also to her family for teaching her that having a high school diploma means having more options.
Sometimes it's about knowing that you want to wake up and go to work every day. And it's about having a career and a life that you're content with. And I think that is the part. That's why you need to stay in school, to see what you can do with yourself, to basically to show people what you can do here, just to see how far you can do and what impact you can have on other people. That's what makes it worth it.
President Obama joined a gathering of leaders from the world's wealthiest nations today, topping the agenda, what to do about the bloody civil war in Syria.
We explore the U.S.-Russian split over Syria and the shared goal of stopping the violence.
Then the Supreme Court ruled Arizona may not require proof of citizenship in order to vote. Marcia Coyle breaks down the decision.
Ray Suarez continues our series Inside Immigration Reform. Tonight, we debate the E-Verify system to check workers' eligibility.
We look at the surprise result in Iran's presidential election and what it could mean for its nuclear program and relations with the U.S.
Hari Srinivasan gets the latest on the war in the states over whether to expand Medicaid under President Obama's health care law.
And Paul Solman closes with a conversation with the author of a new book, Who Owns the Future?, which poses a provocative way to think of our digital lives. That's all ahead on tonight's NewsHour.
Leon McCarthy was born without fingers on one hand, but now he can do things he never could before.
I'm able to hold a pencil, piece of paper.
With a mechanical hand made by a 3D printer.
It was like, look it's working. The Frankenstein hand is functioning. I am holding my lunch bag.
A new hand for kids, RoboHand, on the next Morning Edition from NPR News.
In the months since the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in Newtown, Connecticut, much political attention has been paid to gun laws. Federal legislation was introduced to change background checks for gun purchases. But there's another element of the debate, and that's school safety. In Arizona, Pima County and Maricopa County are tackling the issue differently. One is choosing to train law enforcement officers to deal with the prospect of a shooter on campus. The other is training students and staff how to conduct themselves if they end up in an emergency situation in school. In our next story, Christopher Conover shows how the two counties were approaching their training techniques earlier this year.
And then at 9:40 a.m., shots rang out.
The school shootings in Newtown, Connecticut captured the attention of the nation, while at the same time horrifying all those who heard the details.
Sources are saying at least 20, but perhaps closer to 30 individuals, many of them children, have been killed in this incident.
The aftermath of the school shooting brought about a new wave of public statements and concerns about school safety. States, school districts, and local municipalities are all taking different approaches on how to best protect children. In Maricopa County, Sheriff Joe Arpaio is using his all-volunteer posse.
I decided, instead of just talking about the problem, to do something about it. We do have our volunteer posse at the malls during the holidays. I decided to transition them to start patrolling the outside of the schools that are in our area.
The posse is made up of approximately 3,000 volunteers. About 500 of them are trained to use weapons.
My posse is well trained. They operate under the supervision of the sheriff under the Constitution. And they have authority when we mobilize them, the same as a law enforcement. I don't think we have to worry about our posse. They've been around for years at the malls and everything else. We haven't had any incident. I don't know what you're...
But to be prepared to handle a school shooter, posse members need specialized training. On a recent Saturday, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office took over a closed school in Fountain Hills to train posse members how to deal with what for parents, students, and school officials is the unthinkable, an active shooter in the schools. The first scenario took place outside as protesters jeered from across the street. Then the training moved inside to a hallway with a new scenario involving a pipe bomb explosion and hostage taking. The shooters in all the training scenarios were using guns that fired blanks or paint-filled bullets. The third scenario involved 2 shooters in the school cafeteria. The use of volunteer posse members raises questions about why sworn Maricopa County deputies are not being used instead.
Well, you know what? We don't have the budget. The volunteer posse, they pay for everything. Their airplanes, their guns, their bullets, and everything else. I don't have the money for this program. Maybe the President of the United States can cut loose with a little money that gives us the opportunity to put law enforcement people in the schools. Until that happens, we're going to be outside the schools with our volunteer posse.
Fellow Americans.
In the State of the Union address, President Obama didn't bring up money for officers in schools, but school safety did come up in the context of a larger gun control debate.
It has been 2 months since Newtown. I know this is not the first time this country has debated how to reduce gun violence. But this time is different. Overwhelming majorities of Americans, Americans who believe in the Second Amendment, have come together around common sense reform, like background checks that will make it harder for criminals to get their hands on a gun.
Closer to home, Tucson Mayor Jonathan Rothschild is trying to find money for the police department to put officers back in schools.
With, the horror of Newtown, okay, and we have now gotten the president to say that as part of his overall program, he wants to see, and it was I'm not remembering the number now, but it was very substantial because it was for the whole country, money used for school resource officers. Our governor, Governor Brewer, has said the same. She has said to me personally, it seems like they're a lot better idea than arming teachers. It's a place where I'm agreeing with the governor. And so if we can get the money from the federal government, if we can get the money from the state government, I can tell you our officers are ready to serve and want to do it.
Stephen, if you want to.
While the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office is holding news conferences, including Hollywood stars, and inviting the media to training sessions, the Pima County Sheriff's Office is taking a different approach. Pima County's training for school shooting responses focuses on what people on the scene should be doing between when 911 is called and the first law enforcement personnel arrive.
It's broken down in basically three different actions that you can take. Get out of there is the best option, really. I mean, if you're not even there to be in danger, then don't be there. And again, it's slightly different with schools because now you're talking about a kindergarten class where you got maybe 20, 25 kids in there, and you have to get all of those kindergartners out into a safe area. That's difficult to do.
Stuckey says if you can't do that, find someplace safe to hide.
Lock yourself in an office, in a classroom, someplace where you can at least secure yourself as best as possible. Now, that's not always a guarantee because there have been instances, in fact, I think to Virginia Tech, where basically there were people that were locked in a classroom, thought that they were safe, and the bad guy was still able to get in there and harm people. So it's not a guarantee, but again, it's the next best action.
And if all else fails, fight back.
Even though, you might place yourself at risk by engaging with the bad guy, if that is your last option, it's better than hiding under the desk and just waiting to be found and potentially killed. So, that's not preferable. We don't want people to play the action hero and get themselves killed. But if you're out of options, if you've tried to leave and you can't, you've maybe, tried to find a secure location and the bad guy has gotten in, fight back, do something. You have to act to save yourself and others.
But those actions are meant only until law enforcement arrives. Pima County deputies also train for those scenarios.
We think back to right after Columbine, and the notion of active shooter response kind of became a training point across the country. So we trained specifically for that after then, and it's been a recurring training topic for us at the patrol level, but basically all deputies get the same basic training.
While Lieutenant Stuckey doesn't necessarily want you or I to be what he calls an action hero, the same, he says, is not true for deputies.
It might be, if I'm the first on scene and I know that I'm not going to have anybody else there for another 2 to 3 minutes, which in the grand scheme of things is not a long time, but when you're talking about an active shooter, that's a long time. And that's a lot of potential victims that I might have to go by myself. We need to impart upon our deputies out in the field. You might have to take action by yourself. It may be just you and one other. But the longer we wait, the more potential victims we have. We have to act as soon as possible.
Officials with the Pima County Sheriff's Office say they will continue to use empty school buildings in the summer for school shooter training.
To comment on any of today's stories or keep up with the latest news, go to our website, azpm.org. I'm Maria Parham. Thanks for watching.